Evening of Saturday, the 16th of July, 2022. Do 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 do.
Who's the guy who conquers death? The mister with the whispers when Mumbo forgets. After introducing Pearl and Gem to say we're settling a continent. Shoulder to shoulder, surrounded by water, beyond which reset, risk you face if you wanna. We live close, we build close, we speak in proximity. Season 8's here today, still in its infancy. Mumbo is saying go, everyone's cheering, suddenly scattering, always unfearing. Though it passed by without Mumbo mentioning, there's a crew, you know who to keep you adventuring. Asuma securing villagers, Pearl on fine architecture, Joe grabbing supplies, ready to throw at the first fools who die. Bring on the creepers, bring on the flames. The resupply crew will get you going again. The very first to die, B-double-O, don't cry. Pops and quite chagrin, takes some apples and he flies. Zombie Cleo's next, needs an axe for the road. Geared up and cheered up, she's off with some lows. Gemini Tay appears slain by Jevin, but B-dubs is back before Joe loads the first chest in. Then Pearl's killed by Cleo, who Joe had armed previously. Then Cleo's dead too, per Isco mischievously. Impulse SV got blown up by a creeper, says he won't be back, but how can he be sure? Bring on the creepers, bring on the flames. The resupply crew will get you going again. The resupply crew. Asuma laddering a mine shaft. The resupply crew. Pearl egging a shell. The resupply crew. Joe lavaing a portal. Yo, you're immortal, here's a doorway to hell.
Who's the guy? Who's the guy?
Who's the guy who struck his first die encircled suddenly by three of his friends? Tango, Corrales, and B-double-O, all armed and armored to shake down Joe. Threats bacon triplicate fully surrounded. Joe took to the sky with Cobble unbounded. Lava to dump on the brigands below, or on himself. Misdirection, let's go! Heading down to somewhere with coordinates in hand. Bridging and a tunneling connecting flower forest land. Cleo is away, so Joe leaves her a saddle. He hopes as he does she won't use it for battle. Returning to World Spawn and lighting his tunnel, he keeps striking lava and dies a whole bundle. And droughts hunting squids, though he tried his best. But no worries, back at World Spawn there's a resupply chest. Bring on the creepers, bring on the flames. The resupply crew will get you going again. One chest becomes four, labeled in stock. The shell thickens yet with smooth sandstone block. Bushes are placed, ravines are filled in. Also the hermits can keep adventuring. If dying is losing, then living is winning. Episode's done, but the show's just beginning. Pick up some tools, some potatoes and steak, and show 'em you're real, give 'em season 8. I want a girl who will mine for her diamonds. I want a girl who can sort a chest. I want a girl with shears that cut and swords that burn through zombie flesh. I want a girl who knows world generation, who crafts furrows and times her attack. She's modding her community. She's flying through the air. She's smelting out impurities and feeding her cat. I want a girl with a lectern and a full cauldron. I want a girl who logs in early. I want a girl who plays till late. I want a girl with unobstructed creativity who uses a tripwire to ruin your day. With shulker boxes organized and lustrous in a tone that will torch you like desert grass. Who crafts furrows and times her attack. She's smelting out impurities and feeding her cat. I want a girl with a lectern and a full cauldron. whose shield is emblazoned. I want a girl with good enchantments. On some server we will meet incidentally. We'll start to talk as we shoot skeletons. She wants a spawn with biome convenience. She wants a spawn that's in good repair. She's changing her end from wither to dragon. She's trading her archery for a trident that's self-repairing. I want a girl with a lectern and a full cauldron. The summer is past, but your days keep growing longer. There's no wind in your sails, but the storm's blowing stronger. Walking hard, standing tall, keeping your head up through it all. Fighting fires, spinning plates. Goodness, how did it get so late? Lay your head down and dream. Lay your head down and lay your head down and dream. Lay your head down and just let your mind flow downstream. Sprawled out in a moonbeam. Lay your head down and dream. Joe Hills is filmed before a live streaming audience.
That's us! Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And tonight, y'all are my live streaming audience. And tonight, Badger Spanner is my live streaming guest. Welcome, Badger Spanner.
Oh,
Hello. Badger Spanner is going to be helping read Chapter 4 of Dracula by Bram Stoker. Now, when we do these, what do you call them, streams? These kind of grind streams. Dang it. This is going well already.
you will be undead before you know.
Yeah. So the way that these grind streams work is that we read a book while we do ludicrously straightforward stuff in game. I know, right? I know. Now, if you've never seen me read Dracula before, I hope you're roughly familiar with the story, because we don't have a lot of time for a recap tonight. We have got to get going. So, the story is available for free on Project Gutenberg. You can read chapters 1 through 3 on your own time. We're doing chapter 4 tonight. The basic idea is this British dude, which is what you call a city person who comes out into the country, came from Exeter, which I believe is near London, right?
No.
No. But somewhere in England.
It is kind of southwest.
Southwest of in England. He goes all the way to Transylvania to meet this guy, Count Dracula, who wants to acquire property in London. And so basically, he has become the Count's prisoner, and it's getting weird. It's getting weird. He was accosted by 3 strange women who had, like, sharp teeth the other night. And, we're going to see how that goes.
I'm sure it goes very well for everyone concerned.
This is everyone's favorite comedy in the traditional Greek sense.
Yeah. No, they're the 3 muses. You know.
Yes. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I was really disappointed in Stranger Things Season 4 when they revealed what Nina was, but they didn't reveal what the Pinta or the Santa Maria was. So I'm not going to spoil it by saying what the Nina was, but not giving us all 3 in Season 4 or whatever. I don't want to wait till next season to find out what the Pinta and the Santa Maria are. And here we are waiting another year. Thanks, Netflix. Okay, so anyway, if you cancel your Netflix subscription after Stranger Things is done, now that Stranger Things 4 is done, if you're like, oh, time to cancel that Netflix subscription, make sure you leave them a note saying that you're disappointed that while they addressed Nina, they did not talk about the Pinta or the Santa Maria. Because it's important. There are humans that read that feedback and will let the Duffer Brothers know why you canceled your Netflix subscription. And the answer is probably something they did. Okay, so Dracula Chapter 4. Because there's originally the timeline here, Badger was going to come in on Chapter 5, and because of PlayOnCon, we're on Chapter 4. Chapter 4 doesn't have as much dialogue as some of the later chapters. So Badger is going to be taking over for me as Count Dracula tonight. I'm still going to be reading Jonathan Harker, and there is one other non-Dracula character.
Literally with one line.
With one line. And
I'm gonna ham that one up.
So we're gonna have Badger be our Dracula tonight. I'm gonna be resuming my role as the far too serious narrator and as Jonathan Harker. Quick reminder that tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. This is a viewer-supported stream, and I appreciate all the help I can get. Okay. Just also so you know, we won't necessarily interrupt the middle of a paragraph to read tips. It'll probably be at the end of a journal entry. There's a lot of journal entries in here, so we will have breaks in NDC, non-Dracula character. I feel like there's NPD, non-player Dracula or something. There's something here. We just haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, so we are going to be our grind project is going to be working on the insane amount of Blackstone we need to place for this.
It's a lot.
Okay, so Badger, we have two options here. And I'm not sure which one will be easier for me to do while reading. One of them is for me to continuously go all the way to the skybox and then ender pearl back down.
I would just work your way up. Work your way like you're doing right now.
Okay, yeah. Basically line printer mode. Okay. I feel like this is going to have a lot fewer deaths, especially because I seem to have lost my chop tot. My pop tot.
Your pop tart?
Yeah, for when you pop a totem.
Oh, yeah.
The Nova King says, is this pre-recorded right? That's right, the Nova King 6622. In preparation for the exhaustive amount of work I'm going to have to be doing this weekend.
We actually paid a fortune teller to tell us who would be in chat and what they would say. So we pre-recorded this with that in mind.
And, it's one of those things, I might not really believe in most divination, but I have found that based on algorithmic, Twitch and YouTube are so algorithm driven anyway, it's actually fairly accurate for someone using tea leaves, some sort of glass orbs, bone divination, bird divination.
Yeah.
I mean, they can really basically foretell it all because it's just so formulaic at this point. There's nothing really left to chaos anymore. There's no magic left. But that's okay. Because we're just gonna let the people who understand the algorithm tell us what's coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this set of ender pearls. No, wait. Totem. That's what we need.
Totem?
Before we start, we're gonna get a totem. And then we're gonna read Dracula by Bram Stoker. Blah.
Blah.
Okay. Chops and tots and chops and tots and chops and tots. It's my favorite box.
Chops and tots.
The box of chops and box and tots and Okay. Quirky says, I'm a robot. Makes sense. And Drew Baca says, not watching, but Joe's British accent has gotten very believable. Thank you very much. I've been working very diligently on it. I've found that, when I was trying to do a British accent, if I just do a basic Midwestern accent, most of the hermits are like, well, that's closer than your normal voice. If I just speak like this, with words that are slightly clipped, they're like, well, that is far closer to the Thames than you've ever accomplished otherwise. And I'm like, this is nowhere near it.
No.
Nowhere near it.
Maybe the other Thames. Where is it in, there's a Thames in Alabama or something, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Good. It was. If it's not in Sweet Home Alabama, I know from that song that in Birmingham they love the governor. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Francesc Del Arca pointed out that my box is full of tots and prayers.
Tots and prayers for you.
So, okay. Here we go. We're going to start with my... Once again, we're using the far too serious voice for the narrator. I'm still reading Jonathan Harker with the Keanu Reeves voice, but Badger Spanner is doing her own spin on Dracula.
Yeah.
So we have taken down the setting up stream sign. We are going to do a forced refresh over here just to make sure that we aren't... Okay. Let me just verify that PayPal is not... Okay, hold on.
Darth says, "Watch it, Joe, with the Alabama jokes. As you know, I live there. Lol joke." Yeah, that's why we're making the Alabama jokes.
Yes. If Leonard Skinner hadn't written that song, I wouldn't know that you lived there. That is one of the things he does mention in Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Darth Vorthin.
Yeah. Yeah. In Birmingham, they love the governor. Ooh, ooh. Also, they got Darth Vorthin, too.
Yeah.
Watergate does not bother me. Does your conscience bother you? Tell me true. So, anyway, let's go ahead and moving on. Dracula, Chapter 4, Jonathan Harker's journal. Once again, here is a link to that. Posting that here. Okay. We are still putting the hotbar in slot 9. No tips have rolled in yet. We will acknowledge those as we go. So. Excuse me. I have
Get it all out.
I have to get into the right headspace here. Me. I gotta make it all about me. But also us. Okay, so here we go.
Yes.
Chapter 4, Jonathan Harker's journal. I awoke in my own bed. If it be that I had not dreamt, the Count must have carried me here. I tried to satisfy myself on the subject, but could not arrive at any unquestionable result. To be sure, there were certain small evidences, such as that my clothes were folded and laid by in a manner which was not my habit. My watch was still unwound, and I am rigorously accustomed to wind it the last thing before going to bed. And many such details. But these things are no proof, for they may have been evidences that my mind was not as usual, and from some cause or another, I had certainly been much upset. I must watch for proof. Of one thing I am glad. If it was that the Count carried me here and undressed me, he must have been hurried in his task, for my pockets are intact. I am sure this diary would have been a mystery to him which he would not have brooked. He would have taken it or destroyed it. As I look round this room, although it has been to me so full of fear, it is now a sort of sanctuary, for nothing can be more dreadful than those awful women who are waiting to suck my blood.
Dun, dun, dun.
Suspense. There was a old radio show in America called Suspense. I don't know that they ever just read Bram Stoker while playing Minecraft. But anyway,
I'm sure this is fully original.
Yes, I'm sure. 18th of May. I have been down to look at the room again in daylight, for I must know the truth. When I got to the doorway at the top of the stairs, I found it closed. It had been so forcibly driven against the jamb that part of the woodwork was splintered. I could see that the bolt of the lock had not been shot, but the door is fastened from the inside. I fear it was no dream, and I must act on this surmise. 19th of May. I am surely in the toils. Last night, the Count asked me, in the suavest tones, to write 3 letters, one saying that my work here was nearly done, and that I should start for home within a few days, another that I was starting on the next morning from the time of the letter, and the third that I had left the castle and arrived at Bistritz. I would fain have rebelled, but felt that in the present state of things, it would be madness to quarrel openly with the Count whilst I am so absolutely in his power, and to refuse would be to excite his suspicion and to arouse his anger. He knows that I know too much, and that I must not live lest I be dangerous to him. My only chance is to prolong my opportunities. Something may occur which will give me a chance to escape. I saw in his eyes something of that gathering wrath which was manifest when he hurled that fair woman from him. He explained to me that posts were few and uncertain, and that my writing now would ensure ease of mind to my friends, and he assured me with so much impressiveness that he would countermand the later letters, which would be held over at Bistritz until due time came, in case chance would admit of prolonging my stay, and that to oppose him would have been to create new suspicion. I therefore pretended to fall in with his views, and asked him what dates I should put on the letters. He calculated a minute, and then said,
The first should be June the 12th, the second, June 19th, and the third, June 29th.
I now know the span of my life. God help me. Is that really what you think I sound like?
No. Only when you've had, like, a lot of Red Bull, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on the 28th of May, for those of you reading along at
Hi,
home.
NJ.
Hi, NJ. Welcome. Let's verify we haven't missed any tips. Nope, we're good on that. If you do want to support the show, tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat. While we're kind of between segments here, I'm going to go ahead and grab more of the, what do you call these? The stones.
Stone of Black.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, there we go. Is there... See,
There's a spider just chilling out there. Fine.
Is it? There we go.
So metal.
Okay. Darth Vorthen says I'm fully awake now. Reese Clan says that was a fantastic Dracula voice. Oh, is the abacus on your side here?
Yes.
May I have it, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Spencer Meyer, tipping 2, says, Hey, Joe, what's up? Not much. We are 18 away from our first face camera expansion now, and tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat.
Elijah, what shade is Badger's hair? I think it's brilliant. It is like a bright magenta. It's a bit washed out, but
What is it actually called, like, on the
it's
label?
a mixture of about 3 different dyes right now.
Okay, I was thinking you were going to go, well, in England we call it pink. That's fine. It being 3 different dyes is acceptable. Okay, so here we go. Let's continue. Dracula Chapter 4. With the entry for the 28th of May, I'm going to resume my far too serious voice. 28th of May. There is a chance of escape, or at any rate being able to send word home. A band of Sagani have come to the castle. Sagani, and are encamped in the courtyard. These Sagani are Roma. I have notes of them in my book. They are peculiar to this part of the world, although allied to the ordinary Roma all the world over. There are thousands of them in Hungary and Transylvania who are almost outside all law. They attach themselves as a rule to some great noble, or boyar, and call themselves by his name. They are fearless and without religion, save superstition, and they talk only their own varieties of the Romani tongue. I shall write some letters home, and shall try to get them to have them posted. I have already spoken to them through my window, to begin acquaintanceship. They took their hats off, and made obeisance?
Obeisance.
Oh, it's like OBS, the software. It's the essence of OBS. Obeisance. And many... Sorry, I'm switching back to my... And many signs, which, however, I could not understand any more than I could their spoken language. I have written the letters. Mina's is in shorthand, and I simply ask Mr. Hawkins to communicate with her. To her, I have explained my situation, but without the horrors which I may only surmise. It would shock and frighten her to death were I to expose my heart to her. Should the letters not carry, then the Count shall not yet know my secret, nor the extent of my knowledge. I have given the letters. I threw them through the bars of my window with a gold piece, and made what signs I could to have them posted. The man who took them pressed them to his heart and bowed, and then put them in his cap. I could do no more. I stole back to the study, and began to read. As the Count did not come in, I have written here. So there's a pause in this day's entry. So it's a good time to thank Shaner Code. Thank you, Shaner Code, for tip in 10, who says, been enjoying all the streams. I appreciate it. What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Does that mean, is that a problem?
Any anti-Xanagism, kind of anti-Roma stuff, please do not post.
Yeah,
This stuff is like 100 odd years old, and it's of its type, but we've been we're just saying it as it comes, basically. So it's all good.
Okay. So once again, we are 8 away from the next face camera expansion. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills. And J Coffee Junkie says the plinking of the Blackstone is kind of a heartbeat, not gonna lie. It fits. Okay. So so there's a pause in the journal. He has caught up to where he is. And then he writes, resuming the entry. The Count has come. He sat down beside me and said in his smoothest voice as he opened 2 letters.
The Zagani has given me these, of which... Oh my god.
I feel like you've got like, this is like a New York accent.
Got a bit Boston now.
Yeah, it's
like your representation.
It's like when I try and do a Thames accent. You're like, oh yeah, this is basically it, right?
The Zagani has given me these, of which, though I know not whence they come, I shall, of course, take care, see?
That got really Texan. He must have looked at it.
This one is from you. And to my friend, Peter Hawkins, the other.
Here, he caught sight of the strange symbols as he opened the envelope, and the dark look came onto his face, and his eyes blazed wickedly.
The other is a vile thing, an outrage upon friendship and hospitality. It is not signed well, so it cannot matter to us.
And he calmly held letter and envelope in the flame of the lamp till they were consumed. Then he went on.
The letter to Hawkins, that I shall, of course, send on, since it is yours. Your letters are secret to me. Your pardon, my friend, that unknowingly I did break the seal. Will you not cover it again?
He held out the letter to me, and, with a courteous bow, handed me a clean envelope. I could only redirect it and hand it to him in silence. When he went out of the room, I could hear the key turn softly. A minute later, I went over and tried it, and the door was locked. When, an hour or 2 after, the Count came quietly into my room. His coming awakened me, for I had gone to sleep on the sofa. He was very courteous and very cheerful in his manner, and seeing that I had been sleeping, he said,
So, my friend, you are tired? Get back to bed. There is the surest rest. I may not have the pleasure to talk tonight, since there are many labors to me, but you will sleep, I pray.
I passed to my own room and went to bed, and, strange to say, slept without dreaming. Despair has its own calms. Okay, I gotta say, you drifted into Kentucky and then Valley Girl. You're just cycling through. I was gonna say, here. Why don't we practice? If you want to practice talking like me,
I'll talk like you.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a sentence and you can repeat it.
Okay.
The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains.
The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains.
The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains.
The rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains.
How kind of you to let me come.
How kind of you to let me come.
That was very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Silverfish Stone says these voices are wonderful.
Jill Jackson says, I hate when Draculas read my mail.
I gotta say, one thing that I don't think really comes up enough in like modern vampire stories are vampires going through people's mail.
Yeah.
You know, like when you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think maybe once or twice the vampires hit a mailbox with a bat or something, but it doesn't really show them going through Buffy's mail, like stealing her mom's credit card. and
Yeah, I
stuff.
think like you know when she goes to college and that vampire who lives there steals all of her stuff and like frames her that she's gone home,
Yeah.
and they have like a wall of posters of all the typical kind of student stuff. I can imagine that they would open mail.
Yeah, like vampires care nothing for your federal crimes.
No.
Elijah says, I want to see a vampire that gets arrested for mail fraud. You know what would be great? You could do, you know how they've got like, it started off, it used to be there'd be a crime show like Dragnet. And like,
Oh, yeah.
but like the Dragnet was for any kind of crime. But then we got these super defined shows like NCIS, which is the Naval Criminal Investigation Service, right? I want to see a bunch of male investigators that every week it turns out it's vampires. And it's like a Mulder and Scully thing. And the one that's the true believer is just like Dragnet! Jill Jackson, Dragnet! Yeah. Having every week, it turns out that it was vampires at the end.
It was vampires all along.
Vampires. It was vampires all along. But yeah, I mean, Dragnet though. That is solid, Jill Jackson. I know I need to pitch this for Netflix. You guys can resubscribe after complaining about the missing Pinta and Santa Maria content in Stranger Things season 4. But okay, so let me verify. We have not gotten any tips via PayPal tonight, so I'm gonna do a force refresh on this. This is kind of obnoxious, so I don't do this all the time. But we have been having problems with PayPal alerts the last week or so, and it's fine if people aren't tipping, but if people are tipping and they aren't getting recognized, then that's a separate problem. So I don't want anybody to not feel like they are appreciated. So we're gonna go over here to two-factor authentication. Woo! Okay. Okay. Nope, nothing. Okay, great. Well, it's not broken. That was the important part. Oh no, it's nighttime.
Oh no!
Just like a one-winged dove hits a giant pinball machine. Ooh, baby, ooh, say ooh. Okay, so we need to get a new Tots box. Or not a new Tots box, but a new Tot.
New tot.
New Tot.
New tot, please.
Okay. Oh, wait, we need to name the Tot.
Oh yeah.
Since we're reading Dracula,
Just call it Dracnet.
what's okay? Yeah, actually, Dracnet is good. Thanks, Jill Jackson. I don't know if I spelled that right, but I'm not gonna waste the experience to do it again if I did. Okay, so chops and tots and chops and chops and chops and tots. Okay. So, let me take another sip of my drink. We're gonna move on. If you're reading along at home, we are about to start the 31st of May entry. Ooh. Also, I'm gonna put down some of these shulker boxes that I'm not I have way too much stuff here that I'm not actively using, and I really just need my inventory to like literally be full of Blackstone. Okay. Those totems are probably not good for sleep. They probably give you a huge adrenaline hit. Hey, Lost Cult Music Tips 3, who says S tier dive. Okay, so I believe that comes from a Japanese fighting game ranking system where S tier is superior.
Oh yeah. It's like in Animal Crossing. Above A is S.
Yeah.
For the like home rating.
Yeah, the Happy Home people. Yeah. So that's apparently like this Japanese like rating system. So if you ever wanted to see me be rated on my diving abilities, you know, there you go.
Elijah, there is an actual part of in Anne Rice's books about the Vampire Chronicles. There's actually like a storyline about AIDS and stuff in that. So that there is like transmissible like to vampires in certain lore, basically.
Yeah. I don't know that Dracula was concerned about that given the time period.
Yeah.
But other vampire work has covered it. Hunter tips 5. That's going to get us evenly to our first face camera expansion milestone. So please direct your attention down here to slots 8 and 9 where we're busy putting the hot in the hot bar.
Oh yeah.
Time to say howdy, y'all. Grow Hills here and also Badger Spanner as well. Expanding as we always
Hi.
do in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna try and synchronize with you over Discord. There's no way we'll be singing at the same time, but we're actually in the same room. We might have been able to do it. Hold on. Okay, I'm not good at singing with people.
Jill Jackson, Anne Rice was famously supportive.
Badger Expander. Badger Expander. Okay, and we got our first PayPal tip rolling in. Let me see who that is from. So this is working. Thank you for helping me verify that. That is from Chad, who writes, enjoying the stream, and it's a full 20. So thank you very much, Chad. Boom. That's going to get us evenly to our next face camera expansion. So
Brandon says, putting the hot pink in the hot bar.
Putting the hot pink in the hot bar. That's
Free.
you.
We're free from the hot bar now, I'm afraid.
Expand us. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Okay. I'm having a hard time because it's wider than usual. Hold on. Like the cutoff is... There it is. I got it. We're nestled snug in the corner here. Hopefully now. Yeah.
So snug. So snug.
Yay. Okay, great. I fixed it. It works. Okay. Enderwo says, I never watched one of your streams and didn't read the title, and I did not expect the Dracula. Oh, no one expects the Dracula.
No one expects the Dracula.
DJ Frogtime says, I like your headband, Badger.
Banner. Yes. Thank you.
JKA says there's also a great series called Fred the Vampire Accountant. Ooh. I'm not familiar with that. But, okay. So, oh yeah, let me scroll this up so that I don't have to Alt-Tab as often when we get going here. Okay, so we are going to resume reading Chapter 4 of Dracula by Bram Stoker. I'm going to be using my far too serious voice for the narrator. I'm also going to be voicing Jonathan Harker. Badger is going to be voicing Dracula with her best Nashville accent, which apparently ranges from Kentucky to Boston to California, IA. But, I mean, I can't keep my British accent out of the Irish Sea, so I don't know. Does the tot need to be in the offhand?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That'd be useful.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, 30.
Jackie, imagine if you zoomed in on a mosquito bite and it looked like a vampire bite. I have so many mosquito bites right now.
I am sorry. I don't know.
I could.
I don't know what it is
close together,
about
but
you
I
that's
won't.
like, I don't know. Some people just, I don't know. They've got that good blood, I guess.
Well, apparently, British mosquitoes and Spanish mosquitoes especially hate me.
But the ones here, yeah.
The ones here love me, apparently.
You're an international feast, it seems. So, you ready?
Yeah.
31st May. This morning, when I woke up, I thought I would provide myself with some paper and envelopes from my bag and keep them in my pocket so that I might write in case I should get an opportunity. But again, a surprise. Again, a shock. Every scrap of paper was gone, and with it, all my notes, my memoranda relating to railways and travel, my letter of credit, in fact, all that might be useful to me, were I once outside the castle. I sat and pondered a while, and then some thought occurred to me, and I made search of my portmanteau and in the wardrobe where I had placed my clothes. The suit in which I had traveled was gone, and also my overcoat and rug. I could find no trace of them anywhere. This looked like some new scheme of villainy. So that was 31st May. We're gonna jump ahead here. The diary here, or journal, jumps ahead to the 17th of June. Let's see. Is this... Okay, so that's the alert.
That's the one that
okay,
came
cool.
through, yeah.
Cool.
So it is coming through.
The alerts are coming through. Great, great, great. Okay. Let me just scroll this down so I don't have to interrupt mid-entry. 17 June. This morning, as I was sitting on the edge of my bed, cudgeling my brains, I heard, without a cracking of whips and pounding and scraping of horses' feet, up the rocky path beyond the courtyard. With joy I hurried to the window, and saw drive into the yard 2 great liter wagons, each drawn by 8 sturdy horses, and at the head of each pair a Slovak, with his wide hat, great nail-studded belt, dirty sheepskin, and high boots. They also had their long staves in hand. I ran to the door, intending to descend and try to join them through the main hall, as I thought that way might be open for them. Again a shock. My door was fastened on the outside. Then I ran to the window and cried to them. They looked up at me stupidly and pointed. But just then the hetman of the Sagani came out, and seeing them pointing to my window, said something, at which they laughed. Henceforth, no effort of mine, no piteous cry or agonized entreaty would make them even look at me. They resolutely turned away. The liter wagons contained great square boxes with handles of thick rope. These were evidently empty by the ease with which the Slovaks handled them, and by their resonance as they were roughly moved. When they were all unloaded and packed in a great heap in one corner of the yard, the Slovaks were given some money by the Sagani, and, spitting on it for luck, lazily went each to his horse's head. Shortly afterwards, I heard the cracking of their whips die away in the distance. Let me just scroll down here. Okay, this is kind of a longer one, so I'm gonna replenish my blackstone on the way. Okay, so we've gone through 3 shulkers of blackstone already.
Wow.
Yeah. How many shulkers of blackstone can you do in one Dracula reading? We'll find out. I'm hoping to get the whole thing done, but I don't know.
Place your bets now.
I don't know if it's reasonable. Okay, don't actually bet.
No, please don't.
There's
It's bad.
no betting in baseball. Or crying. Okay. 24 June. Before morning. Last night, the Count left me early, and locked himself into his own room. As soon as I dared, I ran up the winding stair and looked out the window, which opened south. I thought I would watch for the Count, for there is something going on. The Sagani are quartered somewhere in the castle, and are doing work of some kind. I know it, for now and then I hear a far-away muffled sound, as of mattock and spade. And whatever it is, it must be the end of some ruthless villainy. I had been at the window somewhat less than half an hour, when I saw something coming out of the Count's window. I drew back and watched carefully, and saw the whole man emerge. It was a new shock to me to find that he had on the suit of clothes which I had worn whilst traveling here, and slung over his shoulder the terrible bag which I had seen the women take away. There could be no doubt as to his quest, and in my garb too. This, then, is his new scheme of evil, that he will allow others to see me as they think, so he may both leave evidence that I have been seen in the towns or villages posting my own letters, and that any wickedness which he may do shall be by the local people be attributed to me. It makes me rage to think that this can go on, and whilst I am shut up here, a veritable prisoner, but without the protection of law, which is even a criminal's right and consolation. I thought I would watch for the Count's return, and for a long time sat doggedly at the window. Then I began to notice that there were some quaint little specks floating in the rays of the moonlight. They were like the tiniest grains of dust, and they whirled round and gathered in clusters in a nebulous sort of way. I watched them with a sense of soothing, and a sort of calm stole over me. I leaned back in the embrasure in a more comfortable position, so that I could enjoy more fully the aerial gamboling. Something made me start up. A low, piteous howling of dogs somewhere far below in the valley, which was hidden from my sight. Louder it seemed to ring in my ears, and the floating motes of dust to take new shapes to the sounds as they danced in the moonlight. I felt myself struggling to awake some call of my instincts. Nay, my very soul was struggling, and my half-remembered sensibilities were striving to answer the call. I was myself becoming hypnotized. Quicker and quicker danced the dust. The moonbeams seemed to quiver as they went by me into the mass gloom beyond. More and more they gathered till they seemed to take dim, phantom shapes. And then I started, brought awake, and in full possession of my senses, and ran screaming from the place. The phantom shapes, which were becoming gradually materialized from the moonbeams, were those of the 3 ghostly women to whom I was doomed. I fled, and felt somewhat safer in my own room, where there was no moonlight, and where the lamp was shining brightly. When a couple of hours had passed, I heard something stirring in the Count's room, something like a sharp wail quickly suppressed. And then there was silence. Deep, awful silence. Which chilled me with a beating heart. I tried the door, but I was locked in my prison and could do nothing. I sat down and simply cried. As I sat, I heard a sound in the courtyard without, the agonized cry of a woman. I rushed to the window and, throwing it up, peered out between the bars. There indeed was a woman with disheveled hair, holding her hands over her heart as one distressed with running. She was leaning against a corner of the gateway. When she saw my face at the window, she threw herself forward and shouted in a voice laden with menace,
"Monster, give me my child!"
She threw herself on her knees and, raising up her hands, cried the same words in tones which wrung my heart. Then she tore her hair and beat her breast and abandoned herself to all the violences of extravagant emotion. Finally, she threw herself forward, and though I could not see her, I could hear the beating of her naked hands against the door. Somewhere high overhead, probably on the tower, I heard the voice of the Count calling in the harsh, metallic whisper. His call seemed to be answered from far and wide by the howling of wolves. Before many minutes had passed, a pack of them poured like a pent-up dam, which, when liberated, flows through the wide entrance into the courtyard. There was no cry from the woman, and the howling of the wolves was but short. Before long, they streamed away singly, licking their lips. I could not pity her, for I knew now what had become of her child, and she was better dead. What shall I do? What can I do? How can I escape from this dreadful thing of night and gloom and fear? So that was the entry for 24th of June.
This is the next day.
Yep, we're moving on to the next day. Let's make sure we got all our tips. Okay, cool. I'm gonna replenish my we're almost back over here. We'll replenish our Blackstone supply, and then we will begin reading the entry for the 25th of June morning. So if you're trying to jump in and read along at home and you just got here, go to Chapter 4 of Dracula and find the entry for the 25th of June morning. Okay. Is that going to be tall enough?
Yeah.
Goku267 Jeff says, "What's going on?" Not really sure.
Stuff.
I'm mostly just playing Minecraft at this point. But there's probably other stuff going on.
Yeah. Probably, read the news, maybe.
Yeah. So, Badger Spanner, Gap wants to know who your friend is.
My friend is this axolotl here.
Yay. Alrighty, so moving on. Oh yeah, I should mention that this is a viewer-supported stream. We are not making money off ads on this. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. If you want more attempts to read prose, the best way to make that possible is by making it plausible for me to continue doing this. So, 25th of June morning. Turbo Putt says, what day are we on? 25th of June morning. I'm going to switch back to my far too serious voice. 25th of June morning. No man knows till he has suffered from the night how sweet and how dear to his heart and eye the morning can be. When the sun grew so high this morning that it struck the top of the great gateway opposite my window, the high spot which it touched seemed to me as if the dove from the ark had lighted there. My fear fell from me as if it had been a vaporous garment which dissolved in the warmth. I must take action of some sort while the courage of day is upon me. Last night, one of my post-dated letters went to post, the first of the fatal series, which is to blot out the very traces of my existence from the earth. Let me not think on it. Action. It has always been at night time that I have been molested or threatened, or in some way in danger, or in fear. I have not yet seen the Count in the daylight. Can it be that he sleeps when others wake? That he may be awake whilst they sleep? If only I could get into his room. But there is no possible way. The door is always locked. No way for me. Yet, there is a way. If one dares to take it. Where his body has gone, and why may not another body go? I have seen him, myself, crawl from his window. Why should not I imitate him and go in by his window? The chances are desperate, but my need is more desperate still. I shall risk it. At the worst, it can only be death, and a man's death is not a calf's, and the dreaded hereafter may still be open to me. God help me in my task. Goodbye, Mina, if I fail. Goodbye, my faithful friend and second father. Goodbye, all, and last of all, Mina. That's the conclusion of that entry. Noel, thank you for tipping 5, who says, this is great. An audiobook by a voice so amazing. Thanks, Joe. Well, thank you, Noel, for supporting the arts and my show in particular. That puts us 15 away from the next Face Gamer expansion. Hey, Goran! We're reading Dracula. This is Badger Spanner.
It's a very soft play, says, so Dracula will go into people's rooms, but doesn't allow visitors. Rude.
I know. Could you believe that the aristocracy would have a double standard?
Oh my... What?
I know, right? Okay, hey, and we got another 10 rolling in from Magenta Avocado, who says, I've been loving the Dracula readings. One of the highlights of my week lately. Thank you, and keep making cool art. Well, thank you, Magenta Avocado. That puts us now 5 away from the next Face Gamer expansion. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Alrighty, Goran, enjoy your show.
Have fun.
Have fun, yeah. Sorry I haven't been able to join y'all for big screen lately, but yeah, I hope you have a blast. If you are catching up at home, we just completed the entry for 25th of June morning, and we are about to move on to same day later. Later. I don't think that's how Jonathan Harker. Okay, so Lauren, I don't know a lot about the daily travails of being a clerk in Exeter. It might be called a clerk.
It's a clerk, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a realtor. He just got his legal degree or became a solicitor. Yeah. So he moved up from clerk to solicitor, and he's planning on climbing between 2 windows in a castle. Is that a pretty standard level of activity? Are those
for a clerk? It's pretty low, pretty low paid for the high risk.
Well, I guess what I'm saying though is this the sort of thing where like, well, because the owners of the shops or firms or whatever were all working on the ground floor, and the lower tier workers were all like stuck in the upper floors. Would this level of that, would he be used to climbing in and out the window on his breaks?
Possibly, yeah. Could be.
So there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
This might not be as stupid as it sounds. So before the advent of the elevator, the ground floor was reserved for the owners and the highest ranking people within the
Darth,
company.
my name is public knowledge. It's all good. I am known as Lauren Badger, so it's cool.
Yeah. So, let's see. Where were we? We were about to read the entry for same day. Later. See you later, skater. Okay. Same day. Later. I have made the effort, and God helping me, have come safely back to this room. I must put down every detail in order. I went whilst my courage was fresh, straight to the window on the south side, and at once got outside on the narrow ledge of stone which runs around the building on this side. The stones are big and roughly cut, and the mortar has been, process of time, washed away between them. I took off my boots and ventured out on the desperate way. I looked down once, so as to make sure that a sudden glimpse of the awful depth would not overcome me, but after that, kept my eyes away from it. I knew pretty well the direction and distance of the Count's window, and made for it as well as I could, having regard to the opportunities available. I did not feel dizzy. I suppose I was too excited, and the time seemed ridiculously short till I found myself standing on the windowsill and trying to raise up the sash. I was filled with agitation, however, when I bent down and slid feet foremost in through the window. Then I looked around for the Count, but with surprise and gladness made a discovery. The room was empty. It was barely furnished with odd things, which seemed to never have been used. The furniture was something the same style as that in the south rooms, and was covered with dust. I looked for the key, but it was not in the lock, and I could not find it anywhere. The only thing I found was a great heap of gold in one corner. Gold of all kinds, Roman and British and Austrian and Hungarian and Greek and Turkish money, covered with a film of dust, as though it had lain long on the ground. None of it, that I noticed, was less than 300 years old. There were also chains and ornaments, some jeweled, but all of them old and stained. At one corner of the room was a heavy door. I tried it, since I could not find the key of the room, or the key of the outer door, which was the main object of my search. I must make further examination, or all my efforts would be in vain. It was open, and led through a stone passage to a circular stairway, which went steeply down. I descended, minding carefully where I went, for the stairs were dark, being lit only by loopholes in the heavy masonry. At the bottom there was a dark, tunnel-like passage, through which came a deathly, sickly odor, the odor of old earth newly turned. As I went through the passage, the smell grew closer and heavier. At last I pulled open a heavy door which stood ajar, and found myself in an old, ruined chapel, which had evidently been used as a graveyard. The roof was broken, and in two places were steps leading to vaults, but the ground had recently been dug over, and the earth placed in great wooden boxes, manifestly those which had been brought by the Slovaks. There was nobody about, and I made search for any further outlet, but there was none. Then I went over every inch of the ground, so as to not lose a chance. I went down even into the vaults, where the dim light struggled, although to do so was a dread to my very soul. Into 2 of these I went, but saw nothing except fragments of old coffins and piles of dust. In the 3rd, however, I made a discovery.
Dun, dun.
There, in one of the great boxes, of which there were 50 in all, on a pile of newly dug earth, lay the Count. He was either dead or asleep. I could not say which, for the eyes were open and stony, but without the glassiness of death, and the cheeks had the warmth of life through all their pallor. The lips were as red as ever, but there was no sign of movement, no pulse, no breath, no beating of the heart. I bent over him and tried to find any sign of life, but in vain. He could not have lain there long, for the earthy smell would have passed away in a few hours. By the side of the box was its cover, pierced with holes here and there. I thought he might have the keys on him, but when I went to search, I saw the dead eyes, and in them, dead as though they were, such a look of hate, though unconscious of me or my presence, that I fled from the place, and leaving the Count's room by the window, crawled up again the castle wall. Regaining my room, I threw myself, panting, upon the bed, and tried to think. That concludes that entry. Hey, we got some tips rolling in. Thank you very much to Jacob Sutherland for tipping 5. That's going to put us at our next Face Gamer expansion milestone. So here we go. It's time for Badger Expander. Badger Expander. Do. There we go. Also, somebody pointed out I should get Swift Sneak, which I did. Next problem, right? So let's go on this way.
Don't forget to scroll back down on YouTube.
Oh yeah, thank you.
There you go.
The next
I want a coffin bed and a heating.
Okay. There was a bit during, we're gonna raid Draw for Charity after this, after we finish Dracula tonight. Draw for Charity is a 48-hour charity stream benefiting Child's Play that I'm part of. One of the things, they were playing Quiplash earlier, and one of the prompts was, what would be the most useless addition to a luxury coffin? And Gamma Liz came up with, and this was my favorite, although it did not win, ground effects. Because it's a coffin. It goes in the ground. I thought that was great. Liz was really upset that other people did not like it.
It's rude.
So, yeah. So we're going to raid Draw for Charity when the stream ends, but we are not there yet. In other years, what I've done during Draw for Charity was not compete against them at all, just try to avoid streaming at the same time they're live. But I found that it's actually better for me to do my stream and then bring everyone over there after my stream rather than just telling people on Twitter to go.
Very Soft Plague asks, can I ask why some of your inventory slots are green?
Yeah, it helps me chroma out my tank top better. But I've had to put this tot in my hotbar, or in my offhand, because Scar's online, and he likes to shoot me while I read books. So, yeah, so normally those would be in my offhand, but we're reacting to Scar here.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Let's make sure we didn't get any tips via PayPal we need to acknowledge. Nope. We are 20 even away from the next Face Gamer expansion. Putting the tot in the top bar. Thank you, DJ. Elijah says ground effects was stellar. I know, right? My next Draw for Charity segment that I'm going to be officially on the schedule for is tomorrow at like 8 a.m. I'm going to be running a Quake game. We're going to be playing Horde mode, but it's a 48-hour charity stream. It's going to be running all night. So if you're like, oh, I just woke up, I live in a different time zone, or I work a weird shift, what am I going to watch after Joe's done? Hang out and watch Draw for Charity. My friend Pasta's got some stuff going on tonight that I need to sleep through so I can be awake for my Quake game, but y'all don't have to. Stephanie Hall says the Among Us game earlier on Draw for Charity was really entertaining. Thank you both for playing. Oh, yeah, thank you, Stephanie Hall. I saw your name come up during the donations. Yeah, we had Cleo, Rendog, and originally Tango Tech was going to be there, but Mrs. Tango subbed for him last minute. He had something come up.
Much better.
The better of the two tangos.
The better two tango. Yeah.
Showed up. Yeah, no. We were so lucky to have. Oh, this is faster though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you'll be finished by like 10 more minutes. At this
Well,
rate.
I mean, we have. I mean, in fairness, look at it.
Oh yeah, true.
This is a lot.
It's a lot.
This is a lot. We're probably gonna run out of Blackstone before we actually do the whole thing.
Yeah, I didn't get to be
The imposter.
the imposter the whole time.
I'm sorry, Badger.
I'm just like, oh, but I wanted to give people a lie.
Oh.
Yeah, NJ managed to get all of my imposter roles, I think.
NJ was imposter several times. I was imposter a couple times.
Yeah.
I did okay. I got a few pretty decent kills. I think my better kill though was on last night's Among Us session when we were talking about how if we get any single donation for $7,000, that's not like, oh, if we hit $7,000 total, but like if we get a single donation for $7,000 during the stream, Pasta and I will each shave our beards. Not each other's beards, but our own beards, because we're geographically not very close to each other. But and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Joe, how could you agree to that? Are you serious? It's like, did you see me last night trying to get my tie tied and my beard got caught in it like 25 times? It's, you know what? If this is my darkest timeline beard, and maybe if one person is willing to give Child's Play $7,000 in one donation, it's not such a dark timeline anyway.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and maybe I could tie a tie easier. Incoming Scar. Nope, looks like Scar left the game. What? Oh, we got a tip rolling in via PayPal here. Let's see who that's from. That is from Jacob. Thank you, Jacob, for the 5, who says, hey, Joe, unfortunately, I just found you this season. Wish I'd found you sooner. You're great. Love your show, your personality, your energy, and your unique stream ideas. Keep it up, man. Well, thank you very much, Jacob. You know, I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I hope to do this for many years to come. Don't worry. You've only missed the first 1/8 of my career. We got plenty to go. Like, people are like, Joe, what are you going to do when you're done streaming? And I'm like, I don't think I'll ever be done streaming. I mean, I think I'll retire, and then I'll keep streaming, but I won't have to worry about money as much.
Yeah, it's like you only missed a decade of HermitCraft. There's still way more.
Yeah, I mean, I technically started streaming in 2008, but most of it wasn't HermitCraft. It was just weird stuff. Unlike this, which is completely normal. Completely normal. No, we're not gonna reduce that 7,000 if we don't hit it.
No.
We're not. No.
You
gotta stick to your guns on something like that. Sorry, Stephanie Hall.
Mavrian says Joe Hillstream, where shaving the beard is crazy, but open a whiskey serving Wendy's is not.
I mean, it's Tennessee. It makes a lot of sense. Okay. So, I think we are ready to move on to our next entry.
Yeah, 29th of June.
Yep, if you're reading along at home, we are hitting the 29th of June in Chapter 4 of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Ooh.
This one has some dialogue in it, so we got some fun stuff for Badger. Finally, yeah, like I said, I was originally thinking Badger would be here joining us first for Chapter 5, which has way more dialogue. But Chapter 4, we're making do. I think you're adding a lot more than I thought we would have an opportunity for. So thank you for finding those fully opportunities where you can.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay, so let me. I gotta switch my mental space. 29th of June. Today is the date of my last letter, and the Count has taken steps to prove that it was genuine. For again I saw him leave the castle by the same window, and in my clothes. Then he went down the wall, lizard fashion. And as he did, I wished I had a gun or some lethal weapon that I might destroy him. But I fear that no weapon wrought alone by man's hand would have any effect on him. I dared not to wait to see him return, for I feared to see those weird sisters. I came back to the library and read there until I fell asleep. I was awakened by the Count, who looked at me just as grimly as a man can look, and he said,
"Tomorrow, my friend, we must part. You return to your beautiful England, I to some work which we may have such an end that we shall never meet. Your letter home has been dispatched. Tomorrow I shall not be here. All shall be ready for your journey. In the morning come the Sagani, who have some labors of their own here. Also come some Slovaks. When they have gone, my carriage will come for you, and shall bear you to the Borgo Pass, to meet the diligence from Bukovina to Bistritz. But I am in hopes that I shall see more of you at the Castle Dracula."
I suspected him, and determined to test his sincerity. Sincerity. It seems like a profanation of the word to write it in connection with such a monster. So I asked him, point blank, "Why may I not go tonight?"
"Because, dear sir, my coachman and horses are away on a mission."
"But I would walk with pleasure. I want to get away at once." He smiled, such a soft, smooth, diabolical smile that I knew there was some trick behind his smoothness. He said,
"And your baggage?"
"Oh, I don't care about it. I can send for it some other time." The Count stood up and said with a sweet courtesy which made me rub my eyes, it seemed so real,
"You English have a saying which is close to my heart, for its spirit that which rules our boyars. Welcome the coming, speed the parting guest. Come with me, my dear young friend. Not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will. Though I am sad, oh sad am I at your going, that you so suddenly desire it. Come."
With a stately gravity, he, with the lamp, preceded me down the stairs and along the hall. Suddenly he stopped.
"Hark!"
Close at hand came the howling of many wolves. It was almost as if the sound sprang at the rising of his hand, just as the music of a great orchestra seems to leap under the baton of the conductor. After a pause of a moment, he proceeded, in his stately way, to the door, drew back the ponderous bolts, unhooked the heavy chains, and began to draw it open. To my intense astonishment, I saw that it was unlocked. Suspiciously, I looked all round, but could see no key of any kind. As the door began to open, the howling of the wolves without grew louder and angrier. Their red jaws with champing teeth and their blunt-clawed feet as they leaped came in through the opening door. I knew then that to struggle at the moment against the Count was useless. With such allies as these at his command, I could do nothing. But still the door continued slowly to open, and only the Count's body stood in the gap. Suddenly it struck me that this might be the moment and means of my doom. I was to be given to the wolves, and at my own instigation. There was a diabolical wickedness in the idea, great enough for the Count. And as last chance I cried out, "Shut the door! I shall wait until morning!" and covered my face with my hands to hide my tears of bitter disappointment. With one sweep of his powerful arm, the Count threw the door shut, and the great bolts clanged and echoed through the hall as they shot back into their places. In silence we returned to the library, and after a minute or two I went into my own room. The last I saw of Count Dracula was his kissing his hand to me, with a red light of triumph in his eyes, and a smile that Judas in hell might be proud of. When I was in my room and about to lie down, I thought I heard a whispering at my door. I went to it softly and listened. Unless my ears deceived me, it was the Count.
Back to your own place. Your time has not yet come. Wait, have patience. Tonight is mine. tomorrow night is yours.
There was a low, sweet ripple of laughter, and in a rage I threw open the door and saw without the 3 terrible women licking their lips. As I appeared, they all seemed to join in the horrible laugh and ran away. I came back to my room and threw myself on my knees. Is it then so near the end? Tomorrow, Lord help me, and those to whom I am dear. So that concludes that entry. We've got 30th of June morning coming up next. We are getting to that's the final entry of chapter 4. So if you're looking to read along at home and it just came in late, scroll down to near the end of chapter 4. You'll find the 30th of June morning.
I may need a hydration break.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead. I don't need one, so I'll go ahead and hang out with the chat and work on this while you run and refill your drink.
Yeah.
And then we will do 30th of June morning. So this is probably a good time to do a last call for tips. Tips are welcome via PayPal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat. After this, after we finish Chapter 4, we're going to be Raid and Draw for Charity, a 48-hour charity stream benefiting Child's Play. I've been part of a few of their segments already, so you might have seen us playing Among Us with Ren and Cleo earlier. You might have seen me playing Among Us with NJ and Liara last night. Also playing Uno with my friends Pasta, Boots, Brosephine, and others. The night before, no, I guess that was also Friday. Okay, 48-hour charity streams, all of everything's first running in my head together. But then tomorrow morning, I'm going to be running the Quake game. First thing, Sunday morning, 8 a.m. U.S. Central Time. I'm going to be running Quake. We're going to be playing some Horde mode there. I love playing Quake, any excuse I can get. But you know what? If it helps raise money for children's hospitals, getting gaming equipment, and training their IT staffs to care for them properly, hey, that seems worthwhile to me. So, let's go ahead and see how far along that this has come. So, remember when we started before, Stephanie says, try a single line block placement with Swift Sneak. Is it faster? Oh, it might be. That's a good point. It might be faster with single line.
Yeah.
But yeah. We have almost doubled the height of this. Not quite. So.
Hello.
Yep, I read a chapter. So basically, Saturday night is my grind stream. I find something so grindy, people probably wouldn't want to watch me just do it. And then I read a book. So we are reading Dracula. We are on chapter 4, the final entry, the 30th of June morning. Let me do a hard refresh over here. Looks like no PayPal tips, which is fine.
Nobody loves us.
It's fine. You don't need to have it up. Okay.
I know.
So let's see. So with Swift Sneak,
We have Swift Sneak.
I don't think that this is actually faster.
I think it's more
I think the
open
3
to error.
I think doing it
What you're
3
doing.
at a time, the way I was doing it, is kind of the optimal
Yeah, I think
for reading while I'm doing it. Yeah, I just got Swift Sneak.
Yeah, I would say it's a better way.
So like this way, like I fly. So yeah, it's kind of stop and go, but I think on the whole, because I'm not turning around as often, it's easier to read.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Hey, we got a tip rolling in via PayPal from Harriet for 5, who says, loving Badger on this stream. I haven't caught a grind and story stream before, and it's been awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we do these on Saturday nights. That's kind of a fun way to round out the week, take care of these big projects. So, yeah, we tried it, Stephanie, but yeah, I think experimentally speaking, this is just going to be the optimal way to do it.
Yeah.
If you look at how quickly
It is a lot faster than it was before, though.
it's faster with the Swift Sneak than it was without the Swift Sneak, definitely. But
or, as Gusty Gales calls it, sniff squeak.
yeah, I mean, Gusty Gale says a lot of things. Okay, Byron Springhill says, I miss Dracula? Well, don't worry, he's coming back. We've got 30th of June morning, the next entry. Okay. These may be the last words I ever write in this diary. I slept till just before the dawn, and when I woke, threw myself on my knees, for I determined that if death came, he should find me ready. At last I felt that subtle change in the air, and knew that the morning had come. Then came the welcome cockcrow, and I felt I was safe. With a glad heart, I opened my door and ran down to the hall. I had seen that the door was unlocked, and now escape was before me. With hands that trembled with eagerness, I unhooked the chains and drew back the massive bolts. but the door would not move. Despair seized me. I pulled and pulled at the door, and shook it till, massive as it was, it rattled in its casement. I could see the bolt shot. I was gonna say, the problem with hitting that is it's gonna go right into the base of the mic.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Carry on.
Oh,
The door would not move.
I'll figure out where I was. Just give me a second. Now that I've already.
I'm sorry.
But I could see the bolt shot. It had been locked after I left the Count. Then a wild desire took me to obtain that key at any risk, and I determined then and there to scale the wall again and gain the Count's room. He might kill me, but death now seemed the happier choice of evils. Without a pause, I rushed up to the east window and scrambled down the wall as before into the Count's room. It was empty, but that was as I expected. I could not see a key anywhere, but the heap of gold remained. I went through the door in the corner and down the winding stair and along the dark passage to the old chapel. I knew now well enough where to find the monster I sought. The great box was in the same place, close against the wall, but the lid was laid on it, not fastened down, but with the nails ready in their places to be hammered home. I knew I must reach the body for the key, so I raised the lid and laid it back against the wall, and then I saw something which filled my very soul with horror. There lay the Count, but looking as if his youth had been half renewed, for the white hair and mustache were changed to dark iron gray. The cheeks were fuller, and the white skin seemed ruby red underneath. The mouth was redder than ever, for on the lips were gouts of fresh blood, which trickled from the corners of the mouth and ran over the chin and neck. Even the deep, burning eyes seemed set amongst swollen flesh, for the lids and pouches underneath were bloated. It seemed as if the whole awful creature were simply gorged with blood. He lay like a filthy leech, exhausted with repletion. I shuddered as I bent over to touch him, and every sense in me revolted at the contact. But I had to search, or I was lost. The coming night might see my own body a banquet in a similar way to those horrid three. I felt all over the body, but no sign could I find of the key. Then I stopped and looked at the Count. There was a mocking smile on the bloated face which seemed to drive me mad. This was the being I was helping to transfer to London, where perhaps for centuries to come he might, amongst its teeming millions, satiate his lust for blood, and create a new and ever-widening circle of semi-demons to batten on the helpless. The very thought drove me mad. A terrible desire came upon me to rid the world of such a monster. But as I did so, the head turned around, and his eyes fell full upon me, with all their blaze of basilisk horror. The sight seemed to paralyze me, and the shovel turned in my hand and glanced from the face, merely making a deep gash above the forehead. The shovel fell from my hand across the box, and as I pulled away, the flange of the blade caught the lid, which fell over again, and hid the horrid thing from my sight. The last glimpse I had was of the bloated face, blood-stained and fixed with a grin of malice which would have held its own in the nethermost hell. I thought and thought what should be my next move, but my brain seemed on fire, and I waited with a despairing feeling growing over me. As I waited, I heard in the distance a Roma song sung by merry voices coming closer, and through their song the rolling of heavy wheels and cracking of whips. The Sagani and Slovaks of whom the Count had spoken were coming. With a last look around, and at the box which contained the vile body, I ran from the place and gained the Count's room, determined to rush out at the moment the door should be opened. With strained ears I listened and heard downstairs the grinding of the key in the great lock and the falling back of the heavy door. There must have been some other means of entry, or someone had a key for one of the locked doors. Then there came the sound of many feet tramping and dying away in some passage which set up a clanging echo. I turned to run down again toward the vault, where I might find the new entrance, but at the moment there seemed to come, a violent puff of wind, and the door to the little winding stair blew with a shock that set the dust from the lintels flying. When I ran to push it open, I found it was helplessly fast. I was again a prisoner, and the net of doom was closing around me more closely. As I write, there is in the passage below a sound of many tramping feet, and the crash of weights being set down heavily, doubtless the boxes with their freight of earth. There is a sound of hammering, as is the box being nailed down. Now I can hear the heavy feet tramping again along the hall, with many other idle feet coming behind them. The door is shut, and the chains rattle. There's a grinding of the key in the lock. I can hear the key withdraw, and then another door opens and shuts. I hear the creaking of lock and bolt. Hark! In the courtyard and down the rocky way roll of heavy wheels, the crack of whips, and the chorus of the Sagani as they pass into the distance. I am alone in the castle with those awful women. Mina is a woman, and there is naught in common. They are devils of the pit. I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale the castle wall farther than I have yet attempted. I shall take some of the gold with me, lest I want it later. I may find a way yet from this dreadful place, and then away for home. Away to the quickest and nearest train, away from this cursed spot, from this cursed land, where the devil and his children may still walk with earthly feet. At least God's mercy is better than that of these monsters, and the precipice is steep and high. At its foot a man may sleep, as a man. Goodbye all. Mina. And this concludes Chapter 4 of Dracula. John Allow 13 says, how can you play and read at the same time? I mean, I'm doing super basic Minecraft stuff. Mm-hmm. We picked like the most mundane tasks. This is like if I was trying to do something complicated, I would be screwing it up. But the point of the Saturday night streams is to do the tasks that are so boring, nobody would want to watch a 2-hour stream of me just placing this Blackstone. So we mix it up and we read the books. Does that make sense? So yeah, that was Chapter 4 of Dracula. We're going to be back next Saturday to read Chapter 5, right, Badger? Woohoo! And that is going to start with a letter from Miss Mina Murray to Miss Lucy Westenra.
Buffalo.
Yay. Okay. So, very dramatic chapter indeed. Yeah, that's kind of... So the first 4 chapters are kind of the first act of the story, if you will. And so that was a pretty climactic conclusion to that act. Mm-hmm. We'll have to see what happens next. But anyway, speaking of things that are still happening, Charity... My brain. I'm just going to yell Charity and brain.
Broken. Charity!
Charity! Draw for Charity is doing a 48-hour stream. And, let's see... Power Word Casual plays Hades. Let me go ahead and make sure this is muted. Look, wait, what did I click there? Okay.
Yeah, you accidentally click browse.
Yeah. So here we go. We are going to go ahead and raid Draw for Charity. We are about...
Charity!
We are probably 28 hours into the 48-hour charity stream at this point. So apologies that my brain is starting to melt.
Up to $9,250.
And our target for this year is 12,000.
Yeah.
So that means we are 3/4 of the way there. Wait, hold on. Wait, did you say $9,250? Mm-hmm. Well, that means that the HermitCraft game did really well. But it looks like stuff kind of slowed down after that. So hopefully folks enjoy watching Hades. And we can hit that $12,000 goal. Tomorrow morning, we've got some D&D run by Saucefire. We've got Quake run by me. What time is Saucefire's D&D game? Let me look into this real quick. Because Sauce sent me a message. I am let's see.
12 Central.
So noon Central tomorrow is Saucefire's D&D game. He's going to be running a level 6 game of D&D. He ran the Mercy Road charity game that I was a part of earlier this year. Saucefire is super cool. I will probably not be playing in that game. I am a backup if anybody gets sick or anything, though, which this time of the pandemic seems like is happening more than we would like. But at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, I am definitely going to be running the Quake game. So, yeah, if you want to watch me play Quake with some of the other Draw for Charity folks, that will be in, 8 a.m., that's 10 hours from now?
Yeah.
Which is why I need to get to sleep. So, yeah, we're going to be playing Quake. There's going to be some D&D. And the final event of the stream is going to be... Oh, do we?
Yeah,
the raid
Twitch
just went
raided.
through. Okay, well,
So,
YouTube,
good
go on
night,
over there.
YouTube.
Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills, Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Bye. Thank you, Badger.